It was a cold, rainy morning. Maya, soaked to the bone, hurried towards the little ivy-covered house at the end of Willow Lane. In her hands, a simple brown paper bag held soup, bread, and a small bouquet of wildflowers. The man inside, Mr. Arthur Bennett, always said store-bought flowers had no soul. She knocked gently and pushed open the door. "Good morning, Mr. Bennett," she called out. From his armchair, Arthur turned, a smile spreading across his wrinkled face. "Ah, my sun shines here," he said, his voice frail but warm. It had been 6 months since Maya found him collapsed outside the post office. Since then, she'd visited him every single day, before and after her shifts at the diner. She cooked his meals, read him stories, and made sure he took his medicine. This wasn't just charity. He'd share stories of Daniel's childhood, his love for painting, and his wild dreams. Maya listened, but a part of her wondered if Daniel even remembered his grandfather. Then one morning, everything changed. Maya walked in, humming, and froze. A sleek black car was parked outside. Inside, a tall man in an expensive suit stood with his arms crossed, his face a mask of suspicion. "Who are you?" he demanded. Maya's heart skipped a beat. I'm Maya. I help Mr. Bennett." "You help him?" His tone was sharp. "Are you a nurse? A relative?" "No, just a neighbor. I found him when he fell. Doesn't have anyone nearby, so "You've been living here?" interrupted, his voice laced with accusation. "No," Maya's voice shook. "I just come to make sure he's okay. He needs someone." Just then, Arthur stirred. "Daniel," he rasped. "Don't talk to her like that. Maya's been the only one who's cared for me since your grandmother passed." A flicker of guilt crossed Daniel's face as he turned to his grandfather. "Grandpa, you should have called me. Shouldn't be relying on strangers." "She's not a stranger," Arthur said firmly. "She's family." But it was like Daniel couldn't hear him. Within hours, the house was filled with strangers and suits, lawyers, assistants, professional caretakers. Papers were spread across the kitchen table. Contracts, property deeds, wills. Standing in the corner, Maya suddenly felt like an intruder. She realized, with a painful clarity, that she didn't belong here anymore. That night, Maya sat in her small apartment, tears streaming down her face. The kettle whistled, but she didn't move. She hadn't just lost a routine, she had lost the only family she had. The next day when she tried to visit, Daniel met her at the gate. "Thank you for what you've done," he said, his voice curt and distant.
Ow.
"But from now on, professionals will take care of him. Does he know you're doing this?" she asked, her heart clenching. Daniel looked away. "It's what's best for him." The gate closed in her face, a final cold barrier. Weeks crawled by. Maya would still walk past Willow Lane, her eyes drawn to the window where Arthur used to sit, waiting for her. But the curtains were always drawn. The house, once filled with stories and laughter, now felt desolate and empty, despite all the professional help inside. Then, one rainy afternoon, as Maya was leaving work, she saw a frail figure huddled by the diner door. He was soaked, trembling, and leaning heavily on a cane. Her breath caught in her throat. "Mr. Bennett," she gasped. His eyes, when he looked up, were filled with tears. "They sent me to a care home," he whispered, his voice cracking. "I couldn't stay there, Maya. They said it was for my own good. But it felt like a prison." Maya rushed him inside, wrapping him in a warm blanket. He managed a weak smile. "I missed your soup and your stories." Tears spilled down her cheeks as she held him. "Shouldn't have come all this way. It's dangerous for you." "I had to," he said softly. "You're the only one who ever made me feel alive again." That night, with her hands shaking, Maya called Daniel. "He's with me," she said, her voice steady, despite the storm in her heart. "He's safe. But you need to listen to him, Daniel. You have to protect his heart, not just his body." There was a long, heavy silence on the other end of the line. Then, for the first time, Daniel's voice broke. I didn't know. I thought I was doing what was right. Maya sighed, a wave of empathy washing over her. Sometimes, she said gently, what's right on paper isn't what's right for the soul. 2 days later, Daniel arrived at Maya's apartment. He wasn't in a suit, but in jeans and a worn sweater. He walked in to find his grandfather laughing at one of Maya's terrible jokes, his frail hands wrapped around a warm mug of tea. In that moment, something shifted in Daniel's eyes. The cold suspicion melted away, replaced by a deep, profound regret. He sat down beside his grandfather. "Grandpa, I'm sorry." Arthur just smiled. "You came home, didn't you? It's all that matters." Daniel then turned to Maya, his expression softer than she'd ever seen it. "Thank you," he said, his voice full of emotion, "for reminding me what family really means." From that day on, Daniel became a constant presence. He worked remotely, bringing his life back to Willow Lane, where his grandfather now lived happily again. Maya was always there, a part of their new, blended family. A year later, Arthur passed away peacefully in his sleep. He didn't just leave a will, he left a letter. "To Maya, my sunshine," it read, "you taught me that kindness is louder than blood, and love is the only legacy worth leaving. And to my grandson Daniel, never let your heart forget what your mind tries to rationalize. Family is found in those who stay when they have no reason to." Daniel framed that letter. And now, every year, he and Maya visit Arthur's grave under the big oak tree. Sometimes they laugh, sometimes they cry, but they always remember the most important lesson he taught them: that real love doesn't need contracts or bloodlines. It just needs a heart that's willing to show up. This story reminds us that true wealth isn't what we inherit. It's found in the connections we make and the hearts we heal along the way. Kindness is the bridge that can turn strangers into family. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that warms the heart.